Welcome to another episode of MACS Chats. It's Lola and
Jade.
Yay, we're back again. I hope you missed us. This week we're talking about reality TV. So diving right in, Jade, do you watch much reality TV?
Is this meant to be like a shameful secret? Am I not meant to say that I do?
I mean, I think this would be a pretty boring episode if you're going to lie about your consumption habits.
Everything I say today, listeners, it's the opposite. It's the truth. No, I feel like I don't, but in the same way, probably more than I should. I think everybody goes, I don't really watch that much. Then you sit down and add it all up and you go, that's far too much.
What was the most recent one you watched?
It would happen to be clips. Like, it's the type of thing where I'm like, it will be something like the MACS singer or some competition show, or it would be a clip of somebody saying something horrible on like Big Brother. And I wouldn't go out my way to watch a whole episode, but it would be like I end up on some account that reposts the whole episode one by one.
Oh my
just
God.
Scroll through.
Yes.
So it would probably be Big Brother or something. Or Love Island from the UK is something I get a lot on my TikTok as well.
Yes, I really relate to getting sucked in by the reels. Actually, the last reality TV that I watched was like Big Brother UK. And it started because like I would just see clips in my reels. And then I would like go stalk the account. And then it got to the point where I would like be waiting for the account to post a new reel because I was so invested. And then I was like, fuck, I just need to like watch this. And it was like so hard to like watch because it was like Big Brother UK. I had to like get a VPN. I literally paid for a VPN because I was already so into the story from the reels that I was like, it was like, I need to watch this. It was like a mission. And I spent so much time like figuring out how to watch it. I'm like, if only I put this much time into like anything else in my life, like this effort into anything else in my life. Like
you buy this VPN, you get a phone call from your bank going, it's a suspicious transaction. Like what's happening?
I actually cannot believe I did that. But yeah, and like even now, last night, they've started doing Big Brother UK. And yeah, I did watch a full reel of like Sharon Osbourne and like Louis from X Factor talking about X Factor beef from probably 30 years ago while in the Big Brother house.
What's about the UK version? Like, is it only UK versions of like reality TV?
To be honest, I do think they're better. I feel like you can agree that Love Island UK is the best Love Island. And from what I've seen, like I didn't really watch, my parents were like, you're not allowed to watch that growing up. So I was kind of like a late bloomer when it came to reality TV. But like I did try to watch one season of like Australian Big Brother, and like compared to that, this season of UK Big Brother was better. But I also think that they did try and like push diverse, like it was the most diverse cast ever, which they called it that. It genuinely was. Like there was so many different.
There were 2 black people instead of the usual one, right?
No, but like there was like, obviously like race diversity, but like sexuality. Don't really think there was gender diversity, but
little steps.
Yeah, there was like just people with disabilities and like so. It was good in that regard. They really tried.
Claps to Big Brother.
Like it was actually good. Like I was like, okay, like you're not just making that claim. Like this is notably more diverse. And I feel like it was just, it's always better for it. Like it's just not the same people that look exactly the same.
Yeah,
like, doing
I
the
feel
same
like
shit.
Australia makes a lot of reality TV, like a lot. And there are reasons for that. It's something to do with like the Screen Australia policy for TV channels need to have X percentage of like Australian made TV, so they just pump out terrible reality TV. But it's kind of disappointing that they make so much of it and we'll still go, it's not even good reality TV.
Yeah, literally. Have you like watched much Australian ones either?
I feel like the only time I watched Australian reality TV or even Australian TV was when I was like a kid, when we used to still sit down at an actual TV. And it was less about like, let's rank the international Big Brothers and more like, this is what's available. But I'm from the UK originally, well, Ireland and Scotland. And once my parents got like internet access and I showed them how, they all just stream UK TV, whether it's like proper actual drama or it's reality TV or it's like game shows and the weirdest stuff. It's like, we don't know what happens. What does Australia make? I don't know. They just watch like British TV on demand.
I actually love that. I feel like my family like agrees because we used to watch a lot of ABC growing up, which has a lot of like UK shows. And my parents were always like, US stuff sucks. Like the UK is where it's at.
My parents, and so a little bit for us as well, growing up, weren't allowed to watch US TV.
That's
like
so
if it came
funny.
on in their house, they weren't allowed to watch it, and they weren't allowed to watch Australian TV either. So like when they were living in like Scotland, if an Australian show very rarely would come on the BBC, it was held in the same rank as like American TV, and my like grandparents were like, "You're not watching that
Oh
garbage."
my God. I feel like American I can understand, but like why Australian?
Australia's like between the UK and America, and I think my grandparents thought it was too American.
Yeah, in some respects. I think like genuinely though, like the UK makes such good like crime shows as well. Like
Yeah, that's all they make.
oh, they're so good, and they're all like set in the little countryside
Agatha
or like on a
Christie's.
cliffside.
Yeah. No, I feel like I don't even know if this counts as reality TV, but like there's a whole range of shows in the UK that are like competitions but really low scale. So you have like the Great British Bake Off and stuff, but
Yes.
there's also stuff, and this is what my mum watches all the time, and I have watched so much of it as well. One was like the Great British Portrait Off, or like Sculpt Off, or like Throw Off, or like making clay pots and stuff. They have a whole range of TV of British people in a tent doing something that they love with a mild element of competition, but like if anybody does anything wrong or like they lose, they go, well, I got out for today, it's all right. Like it's not the over dramatic
Don't
American
care.
stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like old people going, well, it's good to be out. I love it so much.
I was just gonna mention like I growing up and still now have always had like severe jealousy of like being able to watch Great British Bake Off. Like you just can't. I think it's like hard to watch it here. It's probably like on Netflix or something now.
It was on Netflix for a while, but they didn't have like all of the seasons, and they didn't keep it up, and they didn't have like, they do like stand up to cancer specials that are comedians and kind of famous or people. I don't think they've got those ones,
Yeah, that's
which
surely
I've
the
watched
best
every
ones.
single one.
Yeah, I think I watched like one of the specials and I was like, this is so good. But like, I'm just like mourning like my British childhood that I never had. Like watching these shows, I'm like, they look so good. I wish I like had the lore like ingrained in me, but I don't.
Like all of the people that were like, I would love to live in like Japan, or I'd love to live in Paris, and you're like, I'd love to watch the BBC growing up.
Genuinely, that was me. That is me now. I'm like, I mean, I don't think I can afford to raise kids in the UK, but we can dream.
Yeah, I mean, is it cheaper than Australia? Maybe not.
Yeah, no, I actually don't know. So getting back to the topic, do you have like a favorite? I know you said you don't watch much, but do you have like a favorite reality TV show that you've seen?
Does somebody? I feel like I'm still at the level where I cannot outright say I just enjoy it. It's going to be a level of irony,
Yeah.
and I will go that I thrive on the kind of petty, spiteful bullshit of a Big Brother. Like, not in terms of like season-long arcs or anything like that, but just the little clips of somebody talking to someone going, oh, like, I can't believe. And then it cuts to them in a green room, like doing the filming going, I lied to that bitch. Like, I love that so much.
Yes.
Just
Oh
the
my
immediate.
God.
And I know like media literacy, I know it's all fake and constructed, and people came out and went like, that was from something I said 2 weeks later. But I think there's an art form to like low-level spite that's really I just thrive on.
Speaking of, have you ever seen like RuPaul's Drag Race?
I've seen clips of it. I actually really don't like.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say that's like they love to do those petty like to the diary room and like what's happening in the workroom. Like,
I feel like it's too large. Like I like the kind of smaller scale, more human drama than like them hamming it up for the camera.
yeah, that's a good
In
point.
saying that, it is all constructed. So I think there's a fine line.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like I do watch Drag Race and I'm like, this is so fake. I don't know. Like, because at least in big like the Big Brother house, there's like there's not a camera crew in there.
Yeah.
Which I feel like does make it a little bit more organic, even though like obviously they're still prompting questions in the diary room and whatnot. But like in RuPaul's Drag Race, I'm like, a producer just asked them to talk about this topic. Like,
Yeah, you can hear behind the camera someone going, could you talk more shit, please? We just need a little more energy.
no, literally.
What do you like about RuPaul? Because I just can't get into it. Even the competition side or the drama side. I also just don't like RuPaul as a human being. I think like grates me really badly. I think.
Why not? Do you want to get into it?
Oh, I think he's like actually like a horrible person for like cancelable reasons. He's like super transphobic and weird. But who isn't? Like anybody that thrives in reality TV and then you go, oh, you know, they're actually like a bad person. I'm like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
That's their industry. I can't be surprised.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it was interesting when he was like, oh, I remember him like tweeting like that transphobic thing that was like, Olympians aren't allowed to use like performance enhancing drugs. And like that was his like, he was saying like trans people can't go on Drag Race because it's like the Olympics of drag and they've got an advantage. No, it was fucked. And then he got obviously so much backlash. Next season, there's a trans woman on Drag Race. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, at least you're responding to it, but you like.
Is it him responding to it or is it a producer somewhere
yeah.
going, oh, fuck, right?
God knows. But yeah, I feel like to answer your question of like, what do I like about Drag Race? I started watching it so long ago when it like looked like it was filmed in a potato. Like, I don't know if you've seen those like early clips, but I like struggled through it. I feel like I was like probably just like discovering I was queer and that's why I started watching it. But now, because I had seen all these early seasons, now what I like about it is like the All-Stars seasons where they get back like, you know, people who like had big personalities from like previous seasons, and that shit's always good because you like, I like watch it with my sisters now. I don't like watch it anymore because I think it's like there's too much of it. Like there's the US, there's UK, there's Australian. I'm like I can't fucking keep up.
Well, I was gonna say because it came up on like BritBox, which is like the UK streaming service that my friends have, that has I think Drag Race like the actual show, and then all the British spin-offs, just the British spin-offs, of which are like 3.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, there's like 20 odd seasons of the main show. There's all of these spin-offs. Does anybody actually keep up? Is it just constant content?
I think that you can't. I think it's like, it's genuinely too much. Like when it used to be, there was just the US. I'd be like, okay, like new season of Drag Race. But like, even that was like quite fast. Like they were coming round and I was like, shit, another one already. So like, yeah, I just think to me, I'm like, I've got overwhelmed to the point where like, I don't want to watch it anymore. But then, so now I'll watch like All Stars with my sisters and it's good because we all have like attachment to characters from past seasons. So you can be like, oh, fucking love Katja. I hope she wins. Like instead of being like, I feel like when you not watch the normal seasons, you're like, all right, who are these people? Like, who do I like? Who do I not like? Like the first 3 episodes, you're just sussing people. And there's also like some of the worst people you've ever seen on screen. Like as in like personality wise, like people you're just like, get off this show. Like you're grinding my gears. Whereas All Stars, it's like you love them all. Like it's so good. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's actually a really important part about like reality TV and stuff. And maybe why I do watch less of it is that it is like a communal thing. I think it's like some people's sports, like genuinely, of like instead of sitting down with their family and going, oh, my team lost, it's like, did you hear what that bitch said about it's like people's sports. It's like, oh, which is why it doesn't work when there's like too much of it, because you don't want to just watch it yourself. You want like somebody else that you talk about every episode to also watch it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more like buy-in. So it's like, is there any point in watching it if like your sisters don't watch it and then you can't argue or fight or complain or do something? Like it's a social thing as well.
Yeah. And I do think like with Drag Race, this is like a derogatory thing to say, but like I couldn't watch it alone anymore because it's like not entertaining enough. Like I need to watch it with people and like talk to them and like crack jokes. Like that's part of the entertainment. So like, yeah, it's not one I could do alone anymore. But yeah, like when I was watching Big Brother UK last year, I would just like text my sister about it. She didn't watch it. She hasn't seen it. But like I just like told her updates the whole time so that I would have someone to talk about
like
it with.
Live tweeting you're watching Big Brother UK.
And she's so good. She was like responding. She was like, no way, that's wild.
You're just straight faced. That's crazy. Like,
yeah, she's like, whoa, no way. I'm sending like 3 voice messages.
I mean, I think it might have been Love Island, or it might have been Big Brother. But I had a class last semester where every class would start with the tutor, who was pretty young, and one dude just talking about the like last week's episode of it must have been Love Island, but it was like the UK version, and it was like 15 minutes at the start of every like tutorial because it was empty and nobody showed up anyway, just talking about this reality TV show.
I love that. Was this a film class?
It was like video games.
Oh,
like we got through all the content in case somebody in charge ever actually listens to this, but like every time when they're waiting for everybody to filter in, it was just like, do you see what happened? Like, can you believe that? You're just like,
yeah, I feel like I'm kind of also embarrassed when I watch reality TV. So like I'm only going to tell like my sisters or like whoever listens to this now. But like, yeah, I do feel like it's fun when like I kind of wish I watched like The Bachelor or Love Island like up to date, because then it would have like a community vibe to it as well.
You're not just watching niche like reruns.
Yeah. Why do I watch like weird niche stuff that no one else watch? I think it's because like I can't like commit to like a weekly episode. Like my old housemate used to watch Love Island and I just like couldn't, like I'm just like I can't sit down every week. I can't like make the time.
The only thing, this is like no reality TV show, but like me and my partner, when big TV shows come out, we'll do that. Of going, we're watching one a week and plan it and like
that's
actually
nice.
do stuff. But it was like House of the Dragon was like the one thing that's like big enough for us to put a schedule in. I couldn't imagine like the people that watch every reality TV show, like their lives must be really scheduled to go, I've got to be home. Like
yes, genuinely, I think that's something like you have to make sure you're home at like bachelor time.
It's like the early 2000s again. Like honestly, kind of love that though.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of nice, like if you've got something to do, but I just don't like the stress of it if I like want to spontaneously do something one day.
The stress
and then
of having
behind.
to watch The Bachelor. Like
It would actually stress me out. Okay, my favourite reality TV show is Geordie Shore. Have you ever watched that?
I'm aware of it. I don't really know what it is or is about, other than the usual thing of generic hot people relationship drama. Like,
do you know what Jersey Shore is? Like the American version? No.
No, I know what Geordies are.
Yeah. No. Okay, so basically,
I know what a beach is. So that's as much as I've got.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know. Is there a beach in Newcastle? Anyway, I don't know. But like, so it's like, again, you're right, normal reality show relationships, but it's centered around like going out, like nights out. So like they're all in a house, kind of Big Brother style, but then there's like less of them and like they just like go out. I was trying to remember like the phrase, but they go out on the town or like the toon every night. And they also like they have to like work, which like work in quotation marks, because they're always like the focus of each episode is like their boss will call them and be like, you've got to go to work, and they're like, fuck, I can't believe we got to go to work. And the work is like hosting like a box party or something. Like it's just like, but like they don't really work anyway.
It's
like,
not an actual like job. It's like,
no, it's like a job that like they do like entertainment touring kind of thing. But like the main focus is them going out. Like the segment of the show where they're actually at work is so small and like the work, like it's not entertaining really.
It's just that's it. So it's like kind of Big Brother bullshit, but they try and do more of like imagine it's in the real world and these people work and leave the house.
Yeah, kind of. But like the work element is like such a joke. You're like, these people aren't like they're working, but they're not really working. But yeah,
you're like, I hope reality TV shows work out for them, because if they have to work at like MACS or something, this is not going well.
Oh, genuinely. But yeah, I think it's so. I used to watch it in high school. I haven't watched it in ages, but like I would remember I would like watch it when I was younger, and it would like make me keen to go for a night out, because like
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, it really feels like it's made for, there's like a whole genre of TV shows made for teenagers about imagining it when they're older. And I really think it's like that. It's like, imagine if you like move out and you live in a share house and like this is the shit you have to put up with. Like I feel like it's actually like for teenagers, so they can look at it and go, oh my God, I'm going to have a night out and it's going to be messy and there'll be drama and somebody will hate somebody else afterwards. I can't wait.
Yes, that was literally me. And it's like, to be honest, it like really is like glorifying binge drinking and like the worst behavior on a night. Like they're just going wild. It's kind of like the worst night you've had where you like do something you really regret and you're like, oh my God, like I'm never drinking again. That is like them every night.
So is it like, is it in the real world? Like, is there actual like clubs and bars? Oh, so it's truly like, it becomes documentary after a minute.
Yeah, so like I've been to Newcastle and I like walked past the clubs that they go to. Like the ones they always talk about. I was like recognizing them from the show.
To take your little photo opportunity, like a little selfie at the front.
Not gonna lie, I did. That's really sad. But I went to Newcastle. I think I was like on the way to Scotland or something like that. And I was like, I'll pop in. There's literally like, Newcastle's kind of like, there's not much there.
Yeah, no, truly. I was going to say, it's like, what an interesting idea of, I guess it kind of works though, because it's kind of that Jersey Shore thing about of like big enough to have clubs and to be a bit dirty and grungy, but not big enough to actually be cool, like have cool clubs.
Oh my
It's
God.
gonna be like a good middle ground. It's like
When you said that, I was like, they could film it in Brisbane. They could
I was
do
gonna say
Brisbane
immediately
Shore.
they could film it in Adelaide. Where it's like one strip of the oldest clubs and bars you've ever seen in your life. If you've never been to Adelaide, it's Hindley Street is literally like gentleman's club, shisha bar, karaoke, shisha bar, karaoke, terrible bar, shisha bar. Like
So much karaoke. I need to go to Adelaide.
I think it must be a drug front, or like there must be some money because there's not enough people doing karaoke at like 3 a.m. on like a Saturday night. Like truly there must not be enough in Adelaide.
The market's a bit saturated. Yes. No, that's kind of similar to Brisbane, but it is one strip, Fortitude Valley, if anyone's from Brisbane. And like, yeah, just like the oldest, worst clubs. Like they try to bring in new ones, but they're all the same still. Like play the same music, kind of same vibes.
Oh yeah. I mean, all the ones in Adelaide shut like over the last year, like 3 or 4 of them closed down and people were like, a mix of, oh my God, that's so sad, losing like culture, I guess. And a mix of people going, I went there 40 years ago. What the fuck? Why is it still around?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's like, there's this club in Brisbane called The Beat. And like my mum talks about how she used to go. But then like I also went like when I lived in Brisbane, like it's just like, should that be happening? I don't know.
No, that's super interesting. Maybe I'll watch. Yeah, I'll watch the UK version. Let's be honest. I'm not going to watch the US
I've never
version.
watched Jersey Shore because like Jersey Shore was the original as well, but like Geordie Shore is just so funny and the accents make it oh my God, the fucking slang that they use is like 50% of the entertainment.
Really like chavvy.
Especially in the early season. Well, I was going to say like yes, but like yeah, in the early seasons are so funny because it was like they had like scene fringes and
oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I was like, so when was the early seasons? Like early 2000s? Or were they like really like late adopters?
I feel like it must have been early 2000s. Oh, 2011.
Oh, that's far too late.
No, but it was maybe it wasn't a scene fringe. Maybe it was like 2010s fashion that I'm talking about. Okay. I'm going to look up like Geordie Shore quotes. Because
at this point in the podcast, your homework, listeners, is to go Google Geordie Shore, what it looks like.
Because okay. Yeah, they'll just be like, I was Raj last night. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say any more because like they might be like really rogue terms. I don't know confidently what they mean, but yeah.
It's the equivalent of getting like a tattoo in a language you don't understand. You don't really know what you're saying.
I get a tattoo, like a tramp stamp that says Raj. Oh my God. Yeah. But I feel like it's guilty pleasure when you watch stuff like that because like obviously it's just like trash TV. Everyone calls it that. But also like because it's kind of glorifying something bad. Like they're glorifying things that like you should not do. But then like even when I was 18 and I'd watch it like during the week, I'd be like, fuck, so keen to go out this weekend. Like it's just, I don't know. I feel like I kind of feel bad for like glorifying it in that way. But do you think that there's harm in like inherently in watching and like supporting reality TV like that?
I think there's 2 ways. If you look at it from the supporting, then you're looking at it from like the people that make this, whether they're like back at like below the line or they're actors and stuff. Are you fucking over their life? Like there's an element of like some reality TV stars break out and they go and do other stuff. Especially now we've had a lot of reality TV stars that haven't won their show, but like do podcasting or do radio and do that. And some of them either become decent or they all become alt-right wing weirdos. But like, I feel like if you're watching it, the only like real moral responsibility is like, oh, this is kind of like fucked up when they make it. Like somebody that goes and talks out and goes like, I had a bad producer experience or something creepy or I was misrepresented or something. I feel like in watching it, the only really bad thing is if you don't have the reality boundary yet where you're like, this is made up.
Yeah.
Like you can't watch an actual like drama show and go, oh my God, they got drunk and did this and like all got partied out and like somebody nearly died and go, well, that's bad because you go, it's fake. And reality TV is also fake. But I feel like maybe specifically for your example, where it is weirdly aimed at kids, like it's kind of the audience works because they're impressionable and you're selling this idea to them, that's kind of really dodgy. When you're specifically targeting people you know don't have the strongest understanding of it's made up and it's not real and it's like exaggerated, that's kind of dodgy.
Yeah, that's like really interesting because I feel like I wasn't like, I obviously never clocked it or thought that it was made for kids, but like now I don't really watch it. And when I watched it most was like, I was like 15, 16 probably. And like, I feel like that says.
Oh, there's like a whole genre. I mean like multimedia genre, like in books. And it's actually came a lot in like book conversations and stuff recently around things aimed at teenagers with adult themes, but handled in a way that's enticing to teenagers. Like all the young adult books that have like graphic sex scenes or graphic violence or something like that, where you're like, you're arguing that based on the content, this is for adults. But if you look at everything else surrounding it, even just the audience that happened to show up, when you start writing sequels and stuff, you have to be aware of that. That you go, oh, you're arguing that like I wrote this for adults. But in practice, looking at the marketing material, looking at everything else, you go, but it's not, like it's clearly not. And saying that I did the same thing. Even like TV shows, stuff like what's the one that Zendaya's in? That had all the, she's Ruth. Oh, everybody's gonna yell at me. Do you want to Google it really quickly? Because it's the biggest TV show in the world, and I've just had a mental block.
Euphoria.
Euphoria,
Sorry,
yeah. Where it's
me too.
We're editing that out. Where it just had, it was all the conversations around like, oh, is it indulging or exaggerating all these like representations? To me, it was like, as someone with a slightly dodgy past, it wasn't a good representation of that in itself. It's selling it to impressionable kids. Intentionally or not, but it is the type of thing that kids go, oh, I can't wait. And that's kind of the issue with young, like teenage audiences that will go out of their way to try and be more mature anyway, without realizing that they don't have the life experience because you're a teenager and you're always right, is that like things that you don't think will be impressionable will be taken that way because people just go, oh, it's exciting. And you go, it's meant to be horrifying. It's meant to be bad. And teenagers go, but isn't it cool? And you go, just because it's well shot with cool lighting doesn't mean it is cool.
Yeah, I think as well, like the kids who watch that and are like, oh, like I can't wait to do drugs. Like they are already probably like in a risky place because it's like if you like are wanting like that, if you're seeing that and being like, that looks fun, I feel like you're in a bad spot. Like speaking from experience, because like I was an adult when I watched Euphoria and I was like, oh, like this looks really like you'd hate to be addicted to drugs. But then like I was a teenager, like young teenager as well, when I watched Skins and I was like, I can't wait to binge drink and like smoke and like have yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's an interesting point that, and probably something if you're going to bring up when people talk about like, oh, we should get this off the air and we should like regulate this, is that like, along with the boundary of like media and reality and your actual ability to either have critical media literacy or just know it's not real, is that people that like are looking for an escape already. And probably getting rid of one presentation of an escape isn't going to make them stop looking for one. They're going to look for something else.
They'll find one as well. Like there's so much out there.
And especially for teenagers where it's just like general malaise of angst and crappy times, you know, they'll find something that boomers can go, how dare they like think it this way about something, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. And like, yeah, I didn't even realize Geordie Shore was like in that category, but it definitely is because it's like, it's kind of like how I would liken it to like John Green books, how it's like glorifying, like the way they talk about like mental health and like self-harm and stuff like that in John Green books. I remember growing up, it like almost, it does romanticize it. And I'm just like,
oh my, we're going to do another podcast on that because I think that's so interesting because I did the whole thing. I'm like looking at all his talk and discussions about, I don't like him going, I don't think it is. I think it's horrible. Like you're meant to read this and think these are like kids that are innocent and they're acting outside their age. It's meant to be horrifying. Which is like, I think one of the things he said about looking for Alaska and stuff like that. It's meant to be like clinical and it's meant to be, you're looking at this like medically and it's meant to be horrible. But I do think it's a good example of like where writer intention and audience expectations and like media practice just don't align. And I don't know who's really responsible there, because I don't think he's lying, but at the same time, the people that read it and felt a certain way when this is what this did to me, they're not lying either.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll write that down to our list of pitches if anybody wants to reread all the books we read in high school.
Green books, yeah. Oh my God, there were some shocking ones. Okay, do we want to talk about the reality TV show, The Kardashians? Have you seen many episodes?
I don't think I've watched a full Kardashians anything. Like even so much as like an ad.
Wow. Well, fair enough.
What was it? Kylie or one of the like sisters was doing like Uber Eats or DoorDash ads or something. I never watched even a full one of that.
I think it was maybe Kendall. Yeah.
Yeah. And I everybody has the argument of like, why are they famous? I do not understand. But I truly just, I don't know. I've never gotten it. What about you? Are you a big Kardashian stan?
No, I'm not. But I feel like I've watched like parts of episodes, and then I remember like one time I was on a flight and they had a few episodes, like, and it was a long flight. So I started watching them, but then I like genuinely noticed that it started to make me feel like shit about myself. Like,
oh, really?
Because they, like, it was like a later season and they all just like look so good. Like they always have like their nails done, makeup's perfect, all of this. And I was like, I feel gross. Like I was like, I genuinely feel like not put together after watching this, like just because like I don't have like acrylic nails and like stuff like that, which like
or more realistically, several $1 million at which to pay 100%. Someone to do it for you,
and like makeup artists and hairstylists, outfit stylists, personal trainers, like everything.
Wardrobe's bigger than our house is.
Yeah. But I know all that. Like it's the kind of thing like even though I know all that, I still was like internalizing those feelings and it made me feel like shit. So I had to stop watching it. I think but I think I watched maybe like 3 episodes in a row and then I was like, this is like, that's it. 3 in a row is like made me feel like shit.
That's, I think, super interesting. Good on you for like recognizing it and getting out. But I think it's interesting, like just how little it is. Like I don't actually know how long the episodes are, but like that's at most a couple hours of like being watching bad media representation. Yeah. And that's enough to go, well, all of my self-confidence is fucked now. I feel like that's the actual really, I guess, insidious representation stuff. And it is also the stuff that might be harder to kind of point out and attack because it's not like, oh, they did a bad representation of a problematic thing like drinking or like drug use or like a problematic representation of something that's generally associated to being dangerous. One of them, the other one's just like, well, they're rich and they have stylists. So like it's really passive, but it still builds this kind of toxic expectations.
Yeah. I feel like it's similar to like social media comparison where you're like, oh, like, you know, this is a pose photo. And there's like a movement against that on social media and Instagram and stuff like that now. But I think it's interesting to have that from a TV show because like I feel like being long form content, normally you would see some sort of imperfection or like human element to make you be like, oh, they're just like me, you know, like watching Geordie Shore, I'm not like, oh no, I feel shit about myself, you know. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I went out more.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting for Geordie Shore that like it's not authentic, but that like it's attainable, like a representation of like attainability. And there's problems in that like it's problematic representations, but it is attainable. Yeah. Whereas that stuff, I think the only thing you can really say about the Kardashians is they're good at their job. Whether you think their job is real or they deserve it, but like they've been on a lot of TV for a long time and there's barely a slip up for their brand. Yeah. Which is fucking scary if you're like young and impressionable or even not young, but just, you know, little old you versus the mass media empire. Yeah. Where you're just like, there's no slip up. There's no slightly dodgy lighting or slightly dodgy makeup or crying that makes mascara on it. It's all just like perfect. And it does seem unshakable, and that's like super fucking probably hard for you where you go, oh, this is actually just what they're like. Yeah. It probably is what they're like there after so many years of like you said, perfecting the art of it. Because the crying thing, I'm so glad you brought that up. Kardashian crying is like such a phenomenon. Like, oh my God. Like when I'm wearing makeup and I like
cry. I'm just like, I've been with my sister before and she's like, do a Kardashian cry? Like apparently they have like a way of like putting your tongue on the roof of your mouth or something, and they also like have a way of like folding the tissue so they like get it under there.
I was just like calling out to some like generic representation. I did not know they had a technique.
Oh yeah, they have a technique. Yeah. It's
like how actors get like voice coaches and like movement coaches and stuff in, and there's somebody there going, right, you fold the tissue like this, you put your tongue here.
I think it's just like so they don't fuck up their makeup, but it's
truly, but like somebody must have sat there and went, all right, we're gonna work this out, guys. Like
yeah, because I feel like it's like they want to look great, but then also like the like diary room segments would be really boring if they weren't crying sometimes and like expressing emotion. So I feel like it is very like.
But even when expressing emotions, they can't even have like dirty makeup as a character choice.
No,
like it's still gonna be perfection. That's actually screwed up, man.
Wild, yeah. And it's such a thing. Okay. Let me see. Where is there somewhere that we personally draw the line with reality TV? Something you'd be like, that is like, I mean, we talked a lot about like representations of binge drinking and stuff that like we're like, it's not good, but I still watch it.
I feel like the representations, they are what they are, and it's a messed up thing from like production and audience intention and understanding and blah, 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 media literacy, all of that. I feel like the stuff where you can actually go, this was like outright wrong, is the stuff where the framing from the producers is like really fucked up to start with. Like as much as there's all the memes and stuff about like put 10 straight guys in a room, tell them somebody's gay and they've got to like guess, like everyone's seen that meme. It's those kind of setups, and it's funny. There's those kind of setups that are like tension based anyway. Like the one that's not reality TV, but I kind of went, this is kind of fucked up. It was the Mr. Beast I got on Reels where he put like a bunch of like two people in this like big room, and then if they lasted some X amount of time, they would get a large sum of money, but they could buy things throughout the time of going, you can get better beds, you can get the lights turned off at night, like stuff like that, where I went, this is actually like fucked up torture where like you're intentionally like there's a level of discomfort and stuff, and a lot of reality TV has a level of discomfort, like your survivors and stuff, but the stuff where it's like fucked up, like it's ongoing and there's like tension and you're purposely putting people in like a low level bad to build up these like conflicts inside them. I think that's really manipulative and really shitty. Like it's more than just going, oh, we're gonna make two people fight. It's like, how can we design a room that makes everybody hate each other when they're in it? Like that stuff screws me up.
Yeah, I feel like probably really produced from the start. Like I feel like I don't know anything about like the behind in these things, but I've heard that like MAFS, like Married at First Sight, is quite bad for that, like overproduced, especially like earlier seasons. But I don't know. Have you seen that show? I think it's on Stan. It's called Unreal. It's like fictional, but it's about people producing reality TV.
No, I haven't.
It's I haven't seen all of it, but it's basically like, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, but it's like it's kind of like the production of a Bachelor like show, and like shows all the fucked up stuff the producers are doing, like encouraging like their bad habits, like encouraging a drinking problem because like it'll make good TV and make the person stay on the show, and also like not allowing them to like leave and like go see their families when like an emergency happens. It's like, I remember I watched that and I was like, oh, like even though it's like I don't watch it and I'm like, this is gospel, like this is what happens every reality show, it kind of did make me go like, oh yeah, like they could do this. Like you wouldn't know. Like you actually wouldn't know.
It's like the production decisions that you don't even see. Like it's not something going, oh, the producers are making this event happen, or they're doing this challenge on Survivor, or they're doing this. Like it's not like, oh, somebody's got a fear of spiders, now there's a challenge that involves spiders. It's like, it's not for the audience. Like it's not an end product. It's not for a scene or something. It's for just like manipulate the person into a character is the weird objectifying fucked up bit, I think.
Yeah.
Where you go, oh, this is a human being. All right, well, we need this character for our show. Let's not even just cut and edit them to make them look like this character. Let's screw with them in such a way that they actually become this person.
Yeah.
That's like fucked up.
Yeah. And it's like interesting because like something you learn like in like journalism and media is like that when you interview someone, even if you cut out the question you asked, it's ethical to make it true to what they were saying, like the essence of what they were saying. Like as in you can, like for our listeners who may not know, you can like cut it and you can like sort of change up the order of words. But the ethical thing to do is to like, regardless of whether it's the exact words they say, from the vibe you got as the interviewer of like what they were totally saying, what their total position was, deliver that.
Yeah.
And it's like in reality TV, you don't know what questions the producer's asking because obviously that's cut out. But like also you don't know that they're asking questions. Like sometimes it just sounds like this person has said it off the bat when they've like really pulled it out of them. And so it's just like it goes, I guess, sort of against what you learn about like ethical journalism. Not that it is journalism, I'll also say that, but like, yeah.
Well, it is in a weird way. Like I think applicable in that it's definitely mass media and it's definitely, there's a lot of journalism about it, but like you're telling someone's story. Even if it's like a story in a contrived situation, it's still telling someone's story. So there's, I think, similar ethics. Like it's more than just going, oh, they said this sentence and then this sentence, but it's actually going to sound better if they open with a sentence and end with the first one. But it's still like two sentences said back to back and it's like, it's just for the first sentence they didn't really know what they were saying, the second one they did, so we'll open with that one. It's like, well, they said this here and then they said this 6 months ago and then we made them say this bit.
Yeah. They just like cut it together like into a voiceover. That's so true. So No, I mean, but that's like a problem with the form, I guess, as well. Because going back to like wholesome reality TV show, Great British Bake Off. Do you know James Acaster, the comedian? Yes.
The one that was on it, and there's all the memes, and it was like bon appetit to his fucked up flashbacks and stuff.
Oh my god, yes.
He came out and did a whole comedy special in which he talked about he was like super jet lagged that day. His girlfriend had just been stolen from him and broken up with him. And I think it was the same girlfriend, but it might not be. That ended up dating Rowan Atkinson, who was Mr. Bean.
What?
Yeah, so basically he was having a hard time, called his girlfriend. She basically broke up with him, hooked up with Mr. fucking Bean, and then he was on Great British Bake Off.
Oh my God.
And there was like, so a bunch of his super snappy responses and stuff, he felt like they were slightly edited out of context. Not in like an actual, he didn't like seriously go out against like the show, but it was just like, he did explain it to the producers on in character on the show of like how fucked up this been. That was cut. It's just like the bits of him slightly losing his mind.
Yeah.
And so but I don't think even super serious. That's just going, it's kind of lighthearted. Can we not bring it down? Like, that's not them going, how can we make the best TV? That's just going, well, it's kind of serious and it's a lighthearted baking show.
Yeah, like don't bring your girlfriend drama into this.
And we've got to edit it for time anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just like a consequence of the form as well.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I was going to ask before, like, do you think there is good reality TV? And then when you said Great British Bake Off, I was like, true. But then, yeah, even that, you do have to edit. Like, it's this, you've got hours of footage. Like, you're going to have to make cuts.
They're there for like 3 days, 2 days, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that is good reality TV, or if not, what is?
I think it's good reality TV that people still makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something that's setting out to make those kinds of mistakes. Like, it's not your scandalous reality TV that like, oh, if there's something like that they can do, they will do it. That one, I think, is a little bit more just like fucked up scenario, not relevant to the show. The editor and producers had to make a choice. Yeah. That's normal. I do think Britain does reality TV shows better. Even the scandalous like ones, I still feel like it's less super American produced. Better characters, like better. I think they're better at picking people to start with, so they don't have to manipulate and mold them anyway. And then the whole sect of British reality TV shows that are lighthearted by nature. Or like, so Great British Bake Off, when it was Sue Perkins and Mel Gedroych, they were the two hosts like at the start. if a character ever, like if it's not a character, oh my god, a human being ever had like a breakdown, they would stand there and like comfort them while swearing loudly so that it couldn't be used on the TV show.
Oh, that's so cute.
Like you hear those stories and go, not only is it like, oh, it's cute and they're looking after people and it's great, it's like people in productions positions are empathetic and understanding to how editors have to work anyway, so they're just like, fuck it, we'll nip it in the bud now.
Yeah.
Like, I think that shows a better culture, I think.
I agree. I think that answers the question. And also what you said before about like how even on those competition shows, it's not about the competition. Like, I feel like American shows, it's like really like you care who's going to win. And I love that that's not an element of like shows like Great British Bake Off. Like, I'm not going in there being like, oh, I hope my favorite comedian wins. Like, I'm just like, I hope I have fun watching this. I hope they had fun doing this.
I think one of the worst I heard, to completely ignore your question, was all of the tattoo ones. The ones that's like tattoo masters or something like that. Because I've got some friends that are tattoo artists and apprentices and stuff. And they're like, not only is it like the worst of the manipulated stuff, the things they ask people to do and the way they judge it, if you come from like a tattoo background, if you actually understand this, is wild. Like, it's just badly judged, badly executed, like bad ideas, badly executed by people under pressure, and then badly judged. And they're just like, every part of those shows is fucked up.
Oh my God.
That's the ones I hear the most like complaints about, at least from people in the industry.
That's such an interesting like subcategory of reality TV.
It's like but there's a whole genre in itself.
It is, yeah. Oh my gosh. And the ones I think this is quite fucked, are like the ones where like someone else chooses the tattoo for them, and then like sometimes they get like really fucked up tattoos.
Well, that's what I said, like even just from the get-go, that like it's a fucked up thing if somebody's not choosing what's on their body.
Yeah.
But also that like there are people that have put work on human beings and have been judged badly by their execution, but the person who it's on loved it. Where like and they went, oh, you didn't like execute the brief, and you're like, yeah, but if I execute the brief better, the person has to live with this would be unhappy.
Yeah, that stuff's so bad, and then it damages that artist's like brand.
Oh yeah, no, fully, because it's like reality TV shows that are like they go on and stars and they go on and do more reality TV. That is their job, so their brand is whatever character is necessary to do that. When it's stuff like that, you're like, that's like someone's actual craft, like. That's kind of, they actually do have a job and a role and a profession and a skill. And
the names in the show, like people know who they are. Yeah.
It's kind of screwed up.
Yeah. That is messed up. I think like, and even though like people consent to go on those shows, I'm just like, the concept as a whole is icky. Like, you know what I think is really bad, worse than that, is like those body shaming, like that whole genre that's like body shaming reality TV.
Is there
like
any still around? Like, because that was a massive thing in the early 2000s.
Know. Yeah, but I remember there was obviously like The Biggest Loser, and then there was also like Embarrassing Bodies, which like, what a name for a show. Like, do you think you're putting good into the world with that name? Absolutely no, you're not.
No,
like,
you fully are aware your audience is looking for, not even say cathartic, but like looking for something to laugh at.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, well, here's a person. Yeah, like, and the name isn't even like Biggest Losers or something where it's trying to, there's an overarching story where it could be positive. And you're just like, oh, what do you want to see? Embarrassing Bodies, cool. Name of the show. It says it on the tin.
It's literally like inciting hate and like.
Oh, yeah, fully.
It's awful.
What was the early 2000s one that was like, it was like a makeover show, and it would be done by like a robot, like how, like, you know what I mean? Like they go and stand in this white room and like some robot would say like everything from their outfit to like their nails to their hair color to like their face shape was wrong. That stuff was really screwed up.
I've seen this show. Is it Snog, Marry, Avoid?
It might be, yes, but it had like the fucking robot for some reason.
And the pod, the pod gives you the makeover. I think that's what it is.
And they ask people like on the street what like Snog, Marry, Avoid this human being. Super weird.
Low key though, people do that still on TikTok now.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I thought these things were totally dead, and now that I was like remembered that show, I'm like, I've definitely seen even the lighthearted-ish TikToks are like did you think this person had a glow up or a glow down? And then the person walks out from behind somewhere.
Yeah.
It's still kind of the same thing. It's just like the last 2 minutes of Somewhere Avoid condensed down to a TikTok where you show them the ugly one in quotation marks. And then the after one, like the post makeover. But you've managed to condense it down to be even less about a human being or a process or anything. It's just immediate gratification.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about this, I'm like, all of those fucked up shows that no longer air, the concepts are definitely still alive on social media.
But alive, I think, entirely by the type of people that walk up to people on the street and ask them questions.
Yeah. Wild.
Let's talk about like media responsibility that, you know, at least for a reality TV show, there is some process. That's just fully
like vetting the participants. Yeah.
That's just fully teenagers with a phone going up to people in the street and saying horrible things.
Yeah. Wonder about like the ethics of like vox popping people on the street. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's like a whole
what do you think
field of ethics in of itself. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with vox popping. But there's such a high standard of like rigor both like in who you're going to ask, how much they know before they're on camera. Like the vox popping of you stick a camera and a microphone in someone's face is not vox popping, it's harassment.
Oh, that's, yeah.
But like people that still struggle going, oh, well, at least we asked first. And you go, did you tell them what was going to, like, where it was going to be, how big your audience is, who was going to see it, how it'd be edited, all of that stuff. Like, that's higher than in an actual interview.
Yeah.
Where you at least somebody has 20 odd minutes to an hour to actually tell you something.
Yeah.
A vox pop, you need to go like, you have this amount of time, you have this amount of time to think about questions. It will be edited in this way.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be there from the start, because otherwise you really have no idea.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never like thought about, like, obviously the ones where like they just go up to people, cameras already rolling, are a bit rogue. But like, yeah, I've never thought about all of that. But that is very true. And it's a hard one, because like that is kind of like the beauty of vox popping, is like when you just grab someone and they have like an amazing story to tell, and like you'd hope that they gave consent like afterwards and like talk to you afterwards. But
it doesn't need to be like written down on paper with two lawyers there. But you just go, hi, we're from here. We want something for this show. We're just going to clip out the question. It will just be your answer. The question's going to be this. We're going to ask it now. Is, I think, enough.
Yeah.
Like to hit all those check boxes. Yeah. But they don't do that. They just go like, what's your opinion on this human being that I've got on a photo?
Oh my God. Yeah.
like it's not a high standard. It's about 3 sentences, but it's not met. Because TikTok, man. TikTok.
Yeah. And it's also like, anyone can vox pop, which is like not a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying you need to like go get a media degree to like do vox pops, but like, yeah, there is like, just anyone can do it. And that, like, because of that, like, you don't go into it maybe knowing that those are like the right things to do.
And I think it's one of the things where you see it everywhere. So you kind of, morality is based around your environment. If you see it everywhere, you're going to go, well, it must be all right then, because why else would everybody do it?
Yeah.
Like,
and then you don't see that other people are after the interview going, hey, is this okay? Like, this is where it's going. This is my platform.
Yeah.
Like,
or even stuff like YouTubers that have regretted or have done videos talking about like their production process, because like not enough people realize the amount of work and research that goes into something that I put out in the world that looks really casual.
Yeah.
That, like, even stuff that's like, Tom Scott, I'm only thinking of because I've actually met him in real person, is like not a good example of this because they're all produced, but like the part where he would say, oh, we didn't just go up and get permission. I got translators and researchers from this country to do the research to inform the interview. And you go, that's a really high standard of rigor that somebody might not notice if you didn't say it.
Yeah.
And it's the type of thing that like proper news journalism would do the same thing, where you'd actually get a translator, you get a producer from that country, you get researchers from that country. But the end product, when you're just consuming it, that's not readable. So people go, oh, well, they just went up and asked some questions. I can do that. And you go, you can do that. but you can also do all the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it won't be like as committed to telling their story and like committed to the reality of the situation.
Or just all the little production bits that people don't think about, that they don't realize, like, oh, there's a lot of people employed to do a lot of background jobs other than somebody filming and somebody sitting in front of the camera. Like,
yeah. Damn.
That got serious.
It did. We just had some technical difficulties, so we're going to stop it there. But our general advice is, if you're going to watch reality TV, do it with the filter of, this is reality TV, and don't let it make you feel like shit.
Do it with a friend, someone to talk to.
Yeah, it's better that way, like a lot of things. All right, we will see you, well, you'll hear us next week. Make sure to follow us on socials at Monash MACS. You can follow Jade and I on socials as well if you like. It'll be linked in the episode description. If you'd like to be involved with MACS Chats and you're a Monash MACS member, there's a Google form link in our episode description. You can head there. You don't have to have an idea. You can just sign up and we'll let you know what episodes are coming up and you can join in. Bye.